I was single back in the little house I was making. The guy came in there and he was drunk.
Anybody gonna be on?
Travis said that he called
This
this.
has been nice to visit. You guys just not be leaving. He said, man.
But so I thought we're ready whenever you are.
But you going to leave. Be that.
Never had to deal with anything like that, praise the Lord.
All right, it's 7:30 and we have a quorum. 7 of us here and Travis is online. And so we'll certainly start the meeting. I'd like to welcome all the guests we have this evening. Feel free to speak when we open public hearing. But that, thank you for showing up or coming out. We have a quorum. What's your pleasure on the minutes of the last meeting? I want to thank Roy for running that so I can get back and get something to eat.
I make a motion to approve.
There's a second? Motion made in second. All in favor, make a note by saying aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries. No old business that I know of at this point in time. New business, I'll turn it over to Ms. Steele.
All right. Now you have a request for conditional rezoning RR3 rural residential to B1 business for the purpose of opening an indoor and outdoor event venue. The property is located at 12600 Five Forks Road. It is currently used as a park. There is a vacant white building on the property and a chain link fence with a locked gate currently surrounds the entire property. Property is located in the rural residential development area per the comprehensive plan. The comp plan neither supports nor condemns this particular use. However, the focus on this development area is primarily residential. Assembly halls, which is what this use is considered in our ordinance, are permitted by right without even a special exception permit in almost every other zoning district. A5, agricultural, RP5, R10, R5, and B1. So being permitted by right without a special exception in these areas suggests that this use can be largely compatible with both agricultural and residential uses. The applicants are requesting to rezone to B1 as opposed to any of the other zoning districts because the property is only 2 acres. So it doesn't meet the minimum acreage requirement for any of the other zoning districts where this is permitted. They're proposing to install well and septic, construct a restroom, office space, storage space, a kitchen, pave the driveway, update the landscaping, and provide parking for 150 vehicles. The zoning ordinance only requires 1 parking space per 100 square feet of floor area, so they're well meet that requirement. As you'll see in your packet, the applicant's voluntarily proffering no event will begin before 8 a.m. and all events will end by midnight. A fence will surround the perimeter of the property. There will be designated parking on premises to prevent street or unauthorized parking. A member of management will be on premises for all of the events. All clients will be required to sign a contract detailing the rules and regulations. Planned enhancements will beautify the neighborhood and increase property values. And the venue will be used for weddings, receptions, church functions, reunions, birthday, and anniversary celebrations. This has been looked at by VDOT, but of course, until we get into the nitty-gritty of the site plan process, they can only say but so much. But they did say that the entrance will be designated as a moderate commercial entrance. And they will have to do a trip generation study when they do the site plan to figure out exactly which type of entrance and if any upgrades will be needed. But other than that, they have no issues. All right, so that's all I have, but I'll have to answer any questions. And Mr. Booker, our applicant, is here if you all wanted to ask him anything.
All right, any planning commission members have a question?
Is that, you say that's already accepted use in most all the districts in R2? It is or it's not?
No,
It's not.
so not all one in R2. I guess because those are mainly in the village and that's multifamily. I'm not really sure, but it's very odd that it's not listed as a permanent rural residential. because it's permitted almost everywhere else
Right, that's
by
what I
right
mean.
without a special
Is
exception.
that a problem with the zoning thing, or is that a problem with the? I mean,
Is that something we need to look into?
because we're basically what we're getting ready to do is spot zone. And if it was already an accepted use, you wouldn't have to do that. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Any other questions? Holly?
What's the maximum capacity or number of people expected to attend events?
The modifications that we're making to the existing building will accommodate 300 max.
And
The parking would be, what we're planning to do for parking would be accommodate 150 vehicles, but the maximum capacity of the inside portion of the building would be 300.
how many septic tank lines, drain lines in the drain field?
So currently, there's no septic tanks or wells, existing there now. Once we get everything approved and be able to get our business license, we will then have them come out and tell us what is required based on what we're planning to do with the property in regards to the septic tank. So, but nothing exists currently, but we will do whatever is required by law, based on the property now becoming a business park.
I probably check to make sure the perks before I invest too much into this, to make sure you can deal with it.
Absolutely. This is the first process of doing anything. I'm not able to do any of that until we get our business license and do it as a business versus as a individual. Yeah, well, I definitely, that's the first thing that we plan to do, to make sure. I don't foresee any issues with it, working, but stranger things have happened, so I will hope and pray that it all works out.
I guess the health department would come out and check it anyway. Fight as to how many lines, how that much. Any other questions?
The fencing that is around the property now, is that the entire 2 acres? Or does it go beyond the fencing in the back?
That's the entire.
That's the entire 2 acres.
Area, it's the entire 2 acres, yes, ma'am.
Now, you said VDOT had viewed it. What did you tell us about VDOT?
No, they have reviewed the application.
Okay. I'm just wondering if they will require you to put a turn lane in.
That's something Holly forwarded me the information that came from, DDOT, and at this point, too early in the process to even get the, to get all of what their
But it's something
criteria.
to,
Absolutely, so,
they're so expensive to put in, and they're, VDOT is atrocious to work with on the turning lanes. I'm just giving you some.
no, I appreciate that, but I would hope to based on, it's not, these would be events that are, like scheduled events for weddings, so it's not gonna be something that's happening 7 days a week or 26, like a convenience store or something like that. So hopefully it will not be something that will change that much of the traffic pattern that exists on. I know that there's a concern that, just based on the note that Holly sent, that the speed limit is 55 miles per hour there. So with that and people coming into the event, I'm sure that there's some safety concerns there, but that would be more of a request to reduce the speed limit versus possibly putting in
Or signage.
a signage or something like that. Yeah.
I know that Christ Family Outreach, has to go through putting in the turn lane with them on stop within the property
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah, we had, a stop sign within the property, but that was just something that the family would put up. It wasn't one that was guided by, the Virginia Department of Transportation. But after we get, once we get everything approved to you guys and the Board of Supervisor, and then getting the actual site, a formalized site plan, that's when we will work with, Department of Transportation to understand what their requirements are also.
This road comes,
Is that just gonna be for that one property? Or go zone the whole area there?
No, it would just be for this one parcel. Everything else would remain the same.
You're pretty much doing what you've always done.
Very good.
Just with some upgrade.
That's a great question. Yes, we're pretty much, this is something like my family property. We've always, people have used it, family, friends, have used it, but, and we would accept donations, but because it wasn't a business, we couldn't charge. Now it's to formalize it and being able to get our business license so that we can advertise and charge, for, and have people sign contracts and everything just to make sure that we are, keeping it safe, keeping the community safe and everything else. So yes, it is pretty much everything that we've been existing, but then giving it some upgrades.
Where I was headed with my line of questions, I didn't, was simply that, wanted you to understand that, with two acres and needing to have a well and the septic system needing to be away from it well, and not knowing what what the soil conditions are, I think it probably is fine in that area, but, and so with capacity up to 300, it's possible that you might be limited somewhat in your capacity because of that. No way to know without the information, but I just wanted to point out that that might be a limiting factor due to the acreage.
Duly noted, and again, the capacity is coming from the building. I mean, what we're planning to do with the expansion, if we need to make accommodations, then we can only accommodate 100 because of the septic tank, and that's what we would do. But just based on what our plans are now, without even speaking to anyone for parking, for septic tank, and whatever, the building itself will accommodate 300. And then again, once we get the septic tank and everything, the maximum occupancy will be based on what the septic tank tells us it can be based on. But right now, we don't have any idea how it's going to work until we, actually get that of it done.
The health department.
Absolutely, yeah. But these are all things that follow today's meeting and next month's meeting of the board of supervisors. So once we, I didn't want to incur the expense of getting it perked and all of that and then not have it approved through zoning and through the board of supervisors.
Any other questions for?
Again?
It's for the sewage treatment plant. Get all those people.
Yeah,
Just think, looking at the volume.
right. But the volume wouldn't be the volume for, that wouldn't be the volume for every event. Every event would have 300 people attending. The event wouldn't be an event that's happening 7 days a week either. You understand what I mean? The maximum is, again, just what we can accommodate as a building, not something that's gonna happen every 100 days. But again, we will follow whatever guidelines that are given by the health department and those that approve those and make those decisions.
Well, it's something that they're not gonna use every day.
Yeah.
Like maybe once a month, maybe
Yeah.
every 2 months. And,
It's not like a family dwelling
right.
where you're washing clothes.
And if you're looking at history, and again, history would be us not having a license and it was family and friends that was using it. It would only be during the summer periods because there's no heat in the existing building. But if during the summer periods, we would 5 would probably be the max of events that would happen down there. Most of those events were outside and they were, gone before sunset or whatever. Now, again, it's we have no way of knowing what the possibility is just because we're going a little different route than we have in the past with, just opening it up to the public to rent it from us as well. So.
Any planning commission members have a? Well, no, I'll open it up to the public hearing. Like for you, anyone in the audience can speak, just state your name and address.
If anyone wants to speak.
Anyone like to speak for or against it? You had some questions, sir. Would you state your name and address so we can get it in the?
Oh, me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's Albert Savini. And I'm at 12644 Five Forks Road.
All right. We just need to get it so we can get it in the minutes.
Oh, sure.
Anyone else have anything to speak, ask?
I would say that these are my neighbors and, we have spoken prior to coming to the meeting and I thank them for being here to support. As we spoke last week, they are in support, not that I'm speaking for them, but I do want you to know that they are to the left of me and to the right of me in regards to their proximity to the property. So,
I was going to ask that question. You talk to your neighbors. That's always a good thing to do.
I'm their neighbor too,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a question for you. Where is your property in proximity to this cross street? Or where do you?
Mine goes right around behind his.
Oh, it's behind it.
And then it touches the,
it touches the
over where the horse farm is.
Okay.
I'm right there at the red barn.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Oh, okay.
Anyone like to speak for or against it?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Are you going to seek, ABC license?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's absolutely necessary to have, but thank you for the question.
Well, they've been there for a long time, almost as old as I am.
Oh, almost. Yeah.
And I tell you what, it's always been a very nice place, very, no loud music, nothing like that kind of stuff. You know, don't these people church people, man. You know, so they're good people.
I didn't,
Ain't gonna be no mess, I can tell you that now.
well, certainly the county needs certain spots.
And we need,
Hold.
we really need that. We
Yes, we
need,
do. It will really,
yeah.
fill a need in the county.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for saying that, Mrs. Laura. Thank you, Mr. Mercy. That's what made us really want to do it. I just relocated here a little over a year ago back to the area from Brooklyn, New York. And just being back here, I feel that there's definitely a void when it comes to venues here in the county. So I think this is definitely is something that the county is looking for. And then just the support that the county gives. My son, who actually happens to be here at a store, right in the county, the Hope Test, and working and helping them out up there to show me also how, because the citizens really come together to support small businesses, and that whole piece, which again gave me some optimism with wanting to do this in the county that I grew up in. So I'm glad that you all recognize the need that we recognize.
So you don't think we compare with Brooklyn?
No. That's why I'm here, no longer there.
Keep that up there.
Yep.
Well, if no one will speak, I'll close the public hearing and come back to the commission members. Any more questions for Mr. Booker? Not, can I get a motion one way or the other?
I get a motion that be approved, sent to the supervisor.
And I,
second.
Motion been made and second. Any more discussion? Here, no discussion. All in favor of the motion, make a note by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. So you'll go on to the board supervisors, be your next step.
Great.
Now, whether they may request you to the health department.
Yeah.
Some things they may have to have a little more info than we did, but at least we got it that far.
And we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming out. Really appreciate it. Did any other business that anyone knows of?
I forgot to mention it last month. I'm not sure if everybody knows at this point, but Janet Ford is no longer with us. She's still alive, just not with the county. So we are actively looking for someone new. So next month we might have a new face in the crowd taking minutes. So take it easy on me this month because I'll be doing the minutes. Yes, but hopefully next month we'll have the new person in and ready to roll.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other business? I hope Jeff moved you through your last month.
Yeah, I think you still gotta take that training, don't you?
Again, I've already had it once since then. So I'm hoping that'll last till certainly the first of the year.
Yes.
I'm getting tired of hearing the same thing. Well, I appreciate everyone for coming out and determine whether we have a meeting next month. It's depending on what comes in.
Applications yet. So I haven't got anything by Friday, then might be off the hook for next month, y'all.
All right.
Go on a little vacation.
All right. Well, appreciate everyone coming out and we'll adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, same to you.
It's all here. Long,
I-